Hi, I'm Elle McNichol and I'm the author of A Kind of Spark, illustrated by Kay Wilson and published by Knights of. Hi, hello. I'm making this video for Kirkliston Primary, who kindly sent me a bunch of questions to answer. Happy to do it, but I thought I would. That's my phone, sorry. When you're an author, you get a lot of emails at all times of night. It doesn't stop at 5 pm, sorry. But I thought I'd answer them here because these questions are actually frequently asked questions, so I thought it would be good to just have a video answering them. So, question number one, what inspired me to write the book? So, this book is about a young girl called Addie who lives in a small village called Juniper, and it's a very quirky little village. Everyone's kind of stuck in their ways, and she discovers that hundreds of years earlier they executed a lot of women for the crime of witchcraft, and she decides that she wants to campaign for a memorial to be made in their honour. I suppose it was inspired a little bit by the fact that I am a neurodivergent person from a small Scottish village, and when I learnt about the witch trials of Scotland at school, I was horrified. It was very scary, and I just thought that was a terrible thing to have happened, and I was surprised that other people didn't seem to be quite as affected. So that was the jumping off point. And I also just wanted to write a book with a neurodivergent heroine who was in full control and had a lot of agency and a big heart and was perfectly happy being autistic, because I felt that the kids book market needed that. So that's what inspired me to write the book. Question number two, would I ever write the book from a different perspective? No, I think the book does very well being from Addie's point of view. In fact, I think what people really like about the book is that it's from Addie's point of view. But well, this book's written in first person, which I'm sure you all know means I said, I did, I thought. Whether as third person, which is how a lot of books are written, is it's a narrator that you never meet usually who says she said, he said, they said. If I'd written third person, I could have maybe got to follow Keedy and Nina around a little bit more, maybe Audrey, maybe spent a bit more time with the town villagers, which I would love because I love the ensemble cast in this book. I love all the other characters, but I am very happy with it being from Addie's point of view because it's her story, and I think that's being in her head is what I think a lot of readers like the most about the book. But it's a good question. And that leads to question number three, which is, would I ever write a sequel? Yes. I did not feel finished with Juniper or Addie when I was done. I would love to write 3 books, ideally, in the world of Juniper. And one of those would be a prequel, which means a book before this book. And that would be about Keedy and her story and her history and everything that happened before the events of A Kind of Spark. But I'd love to do a sequel to Spark, and I think it would be when they were a little bit older. I think maybe they'd be 13, Addie and Audrey, I mean, would be about 13 or 14 years old, and it would be that kind of pre-teen experience through an autistic lens. I'd really like to write that, so that's a good question, thank you. Question number 4, is there anything in the book that relates to my life? Yes, I think when you're an author, it all comes from your imagination, and things trickled into your books, even if you don't realise it. I think I had a very tough time when I was Addie's age. I wasn't as confident as she was, so I wrote a story, I think, to kind of correct real life rather than to retell it or to emulate it. It was more sort of how I wish it could have been, if that makes sense. Question 5, which is my favourite character? I love the sisters, the 3 of them, all 3 of them, not just Addie and Keedy, but Nina as well. I love the 3 of them. I wanted to sort of emulate books like Little Women and Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility, where sisterhood's a really big part of the story. And I love the 3 of them together. I think they all have very funny dynamics, so I like them a lot. And I like the townsfolk as well. I think they're very funny, and if you're from a small town or a small village, I think you probably recognise a few of the people in the book because they're in every town. Question number 6, what inspired me to become an author? I have always been a writer. The only thing you need to do to be a writer is to write, and I've been doing that since I was about 5 or 6. And just keep practicing over and over again. Writing's like anything else to do with the arts. It's like playing the piano or the violin. You've got to just practice and practice and listen to yourself and get better and better and work at it. So I was inspired to be an author because it's the dream job. It's my dream job, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's where I felt most comfortable professionally. You know, being neurodivergent in the world of work is sometimes quite challenging, and I didn't do very well in an office, and I didn't do very well behind a bar. Well, I was a very good bartender, but I didn't enjoy it very much. And I, retail was great when I was selling books. I loved talking to customers about books, but I wasn't very good at shelving or or sort of retail things. So an author's a perfect job for me because it just works with who I am. So I think that's what inspired me. I loved telling stories, and I wanted to have a job that I really love. And the final question number 7, what's my favourite part of the novel? My favourite part is, I like the ending. And when I say the ending, I mean probably the last 20% or the last, 20 pages. I feel the same way about the book I'm writing right now, which is Top Secret. But I love the climactic moment of a book and then the aftermath of that. So I'm not going to spoil the book for you, but when Addie finds out what the class have done to her thesaurus, that is kind of a spoiler, but that's from then on I enjoyed writing that the most, because there was just so many feelings coming out. I don't really like reading it back. It's quite hard to read back, because it's a very painful thing. But I love writing the endings of books. The middles are the hardest part. So thank you so much for your questions about me and A Kind of Spark. I really, really love getting questions from people. I love talking to people on Twitter, and I love hearing everyone's thoughts and opinions of A Kind of Spark, and I'm so grateful to everyone who's bought and read it. Currently, when this video goes up, we are Waterston's Children's Book of the Month, which is why we have these special editions with the Shining Gold title, and I'm so thrilled, and I'm just so proud of what this little book has done, and I'm so grateful to everyone who's read it. So thank you, all my love.